Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer, and joining me today is Adelle Nazarian, but she is wearing a different hat today. She's the Chief Executive of American Blockchain Political Action Committee, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about this PAC, its aspirations, and what it proposes to do, as a lot of legislation is planned around blockchain and everything else around that. So here we go. Let's welcome Adelle Nazarian. Adelle,
Namaskar.
namaskar and welcome to P Guru.
Namaskar. It's great to be on with you again.
The pleasure is all mine, Adelle. And what we are going to do today is let you walk us through your role in this Blockchain Political Action Committee. What are its hopes and aspirations? Because many times blockchain does get a bad rap because of its association, or whatever you want to call it, as something that is crypto-based. So there are lots of things. I mean, I myself have had patents on blockchain, so I know they're different. And when Blockchain PAC, for example, has a much bigger, wider usage than just one particular function. So when did it start, and who are the people who are driving this, and where do you think you're going, and your hopes and aspirations for this political action committee? Take it away.
Thank you so much. So when we were founded, we really, the goal was to get a galvanization of sorts of the entire community, people who are invested in digital assets, people who understand and are supportive of blockchain technology and its mass adoption. Of course, we are protecting the decentralized and peer-to-peer nature of digital assets, also as envisioned by the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto. And in addition to that, as a political action committee, we're interested in getting the right people elected, of course, and training these legislators to be able to understand the importance of this nascent technology. And really, more than anything else, having everyone understand who's invested in it, the crypto bros, sisters, if you want to call them that, how important it is to interface with the 3- and 4-letter agencies, the legislators, elected officials. It's just very, very important for them to, and they've come to realize that there's no ignoring it, that this is the future, this is the path. Regulation is inevitable, but it's about getting smart regulation. And that's what we're here for. We're here to also prevent runaway regulation, to prevent federal government overreach. And I'd love to talk to you also about the CBDC briefly,
Yes.
but right, which is something that's obviously on everyone's, buzzing on everyone's lips these days, especially with the upcoming elections a few months away.
I'm wondering if CBDC has been pushed out for a few more months because of the fact that there are elections right around the corner. They were supposed to have done it in July. I don't know what happened. And again, there's a lot of turmoil going on in the economy, banking, what have you. So maybe the thinking heads thought it might be better to wait for some more time. Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
I think the biggest concern for everyone, rightly so, and the reason this has become such an issue for Republicans and Democrats alike, the candidates that are running, is because the CBDCs are the ultimate mechanism for social surveillance and control. If they want to, with a flip of a switch, the U.S. government could determine how much of the currencies are allowed to be allocated towards gas, towards fuel, towards food, towards preventing and certain kinds of products to be purchased, right? So surveying everything that's going on. So it's clearly something that when it comes to freedom, which is why actually the chair of our board of advisors, Dr. W. Scott Sornetta, the founding father of blockchain, blockchain with American characteristics, freedom and liberty for all. The CBDCs kind of run counter to that, frankly.
That's a very interesting way to put it. I have not looked at the CBDC a whole lot, except for the fact that it does have some sort of a blockchain as its underpinning base,
Yes,
and it will be able to establish where money is flowing from place A to place B. The biggest fear people have explained about CBDC is that Uncle Sam can give it and Uncle Sam can take it away, meaning like Uncle Sam can say that you have $5,000 in your bank, you shall use it only to buy one jar of Coke, one bottle of milk, but not Pepsi, things of that nature. And it's very easy to do it because it's all software. So that is a fear that's been expressed. CBDC hasn't tried to dispel this thing. Is that the only problem, or are there other constraints to CBDC?
There's definitely other issues. Here's the thing. Those are the main issues on the top of it, right, on the surface. But of course, there's a delay in introducing the CBDCs, rolling them out for several reasons. There's regulatory challenges. It's navigating a complex regulatory landscape. Policymakers ensuring the technology complies with the existing financial laws and international standards. There's, of course, the technological infrastructure issues, developing and implementation of the CBDC. It requires, robust, secure technological infrastructure. There's the privacy and security concerns, right? There's large amounts of sensitive data being handled, ensuring privacy and cybersecurity. These are crucial. There's interoperability, right? You have to make sure it's seamlessly able to interact with existing financial systems. And I think one of the biggest thing here is the public acceptance and understanding, educating and awareness campaigns to help everyone understand what it is before rolling it out. And I think those are some of the main issues. And honestly, also, Shriji, just the global coordination of it all, right? Of course, America is the leader when it comes to technology and innovation. With that said, CBDCs are gaining attention worldwide. That means America won't be the only country. There's other countries that have already begun implementing their own version of digital assets, the CBDC, so to speak. And just making sure that there's seamless interoperability across borders, right? There's a lot of technical issues that go into the back end before it's ready to be rolled out properly. And I frankly think that in this particular case, one of the reasons why it's being delayed and pushed back, as you pointed out, by several months is because of the historic nature of the upcoming presidential elections. Everyone knows very well in the government and outside of it that depending on who wins this, it will have a major impact on regulatory clarity. It will have a major impact on the way a CBDC is implemented and rolled out, when it happens, how it happens, if it happens.
Absolutely. So we'll wait and see what happens with CBDC. Let's get back to the underlying technology, which is the blockchain. Now, blockchain can be used in many different ways. For example, real estate ownership can be on a blockchain. That way, not many people can lay claim to a same piece of land. That happens in many developed countries or even in developing countries. And there's this one case of one Central American country where the massive rains and floods that followed after that washed away most of the government records, and everybody went up to the place where it was like higher land, and everybody laid claim to that, knowing fully well that there was no records to show who really owned it prior to this fact. Everything was paper. That thing got completely lost. So if it was all on a blockchain, well, it could have been much more secure. It could have been stored in 4 different places or around the world, and so on and so forth. So blockchain has a very important role to play in our lives in a very constructive way. Now, my question to you, Adelle, is how easy is it or how difficult is it to talk to the lawmakers, whether it's congressmen or senators, about what kind of reforms you want or what kind of policy you want around blockchain? How much has it been for you? How successful have you been? Are the challenges? What are the challenges you have, and how you are surmounting them? Take it away.
Thank you. So honestly, it's been very interesting. I found that you either have those who are absolutely vehemently, I don't care if God themselves come down and talk to me, I will not accept blockchain. I will not accept this technology, right? So some of them are just vehemently opposed to the, Bitcoin specifically, let's say put it that way. But for the most part, I'd say legislators who are interested in it, who are supportive of it, they're kind of the superstars of the industry, so to speak, right? And those who are not as knowledgeable about blockchain technology, I find that when we communicate with them or they're faced with information and it's presented in a way that's colloquially understandable, they actually are very amenable to it, and they're curious and they want to learn more about it, and they think that it's a great solution to helping cut out a lot of the issues that you mentioned yourself regarding land ownership, for example. And one of the main things, some of the main issues that, well, applications of blockchain, I'd say, that really are amazing for the future of smart contracts, obviously, it's supply chain management, voting systems, for example. Imagine how if we could just get voting on the blockchain. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, in the near future. It's going to be a tight uphill battle. But that would really reduce all the issues we have. We have healthcare, gaming, identity management, right? All these different things that would cut billions, if not trillions, out of our costs for the U.S. government and be able to help streamline so many errors and eradicate them, right? It's such a solution to all these things. But yeah, just to answer the question, I think that most members of Congress, most people who are elected officials are very, very open to it, except for the ones that stand out like sore thumbs that we know who they are, who are just absolutely want to kill it, kill upon arrival.
I'm more curious about one other thing, Adelle, which is that when you start putting some legislation around this, like you mentioned, let's take voting, for example. Voting makes perfect sense. And they should have done by now pilot plans or pilot projects, whether it was in a council, a small city council, where the number of votes may be 1,000 or 2,000 or something like that. Put them on a permission blockchain, which means it's not open like in Bitcoin, but a permission blockchain, which means you can handle the complexity of computing to a large extent and see how this plays out so that you can give the people that feeling of comfort, because you can vote from your phone. As long as you have established your authenticity, you can vote from your phone, from the comfort of your home. I mean, that alone to me is a very strong reason why voting should be on blockchain. You don't need to go anywhere. No need to present yourself, no need to present yourself, your ID, this, that, chatless, all that stuff. All that stuff goes away, and you can instantly compute the results too. And you can also do it like ahead of time, 30 days ahead of time, voting opens. You can vote multiple times on the same issue. The last one you choose is the one that will be taken as your vote. Look at that. I mean, that is again, right? I mean, you listen to a debate and say, okay, now I like this guy instead of that guy. I'm changing my vote.
That's funny. No, absolutely, absolutely, and then that's hilarious. Actually, I'm sure the Simpsons have created an episode about that. But I wanted to see.
All I saw thus far was an episode in Billions. I don't know if you watch Billions on Showtime.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great show.
I cut you off. Yeah.
No, I was going to say this is, developers, they're using blockchain technology as the building blocks for building the next generation of decentralized internet technology, right? Web3.
Yes,
and this is, as you said, it's going to give users control over their own data, transactions, finances. I mean, if you take a look at, for example, medical records, medical offices, I know one or two people at least, actually, one person in particular, two kind of, that through the work that I've done, who've actually used the blockchain technology to get certain hospitals and doctors' offices to not take on patients' data, to have them own it themselves, and they can actually decide if they want to sell their medical data. It's very interesting. I mean, there's one person who I spoke with who is running for president. Actually, his name is Patrick Riley, and it's fascinating. He's very, very big into XRP, and he mentioned something about using blockchain, for example, to actually register people into a do not contact database, where if they want to receive advertisements in the mail, that the companies they have to pay. They have to pay them to actually send the advertisements over. So it's fascinating.
Now, there are many horses, all of which can ride on the blockchain bandwagon. Which one do you think, looking at all the interactions that we've had at the Capitol Hill, we are talking about blockchain being used for many applications. We can use them in many places. So think of it as each one is a different horse that is essentially based on blockchain. Land records management, insurance fraud, do not call registry, voting, what have you. A lot more will also come up. Which one do you think has the best chance of succeeding, and in how long?
That's an excellent, excellent question. I think perhaps the fastest way to see mass adoption of blockchain technology on a wider scale is in the supply chain sector and distribution of critical commodities, right? Getting them as simply integrated into, I think we're already seeing it honestly in Amazon, for example, and Whole Foods. They have like, you can just basically put whatever you are buying into your cart, and it automatically will scan it, or you know what I mean? Having that ability to have kind of a ledger that tells you when this produce came in, how good it's supposed to last, how long it's supposed to last for, and to let you know expiration date is based on when it was first logged into the ledger, right? So I think that's probably the first place. Regarding banking, finances, I mean, look, we were speaking a little bit about Satoshi Nakamoto, how 15 years ago, Satoshi Nakamoto, not Craig Wright, released the design paper for Bitcoin Original. And his vision was to build a global financial network that was to be built on peer-to-peer permissionless transactions of digital assets using public cryptographically protected distributed ledger technology. And I think what he referred to it as in his early emails, Satoshi Nakamoto, was a chain of blocks, which actually is blockchain. He was describing blockchain technology. So really, to see Bitcoin fulfilled in its original vision, honestly, would be the mass adoption of it, at least, would probably be alongside the supply chain, the first place really to see it happen more quickly, see the mass adoption. What do you think about that?
I think real estate probably also has a good chance, especially in a third world country like India, where there are multiple people laying claim to the same piece of land with useless piece of paper, some of it conjured out of thin air. So that's one other, I mean, it's a crying need, for example. Supply chain management, yes, I totally agree. But in a developing country, the problem is the assets are all, most people's assets are their land. When you divest them of that, they have nothing else left. No assets at all. So that's something that I think Indian government might be looking at. Again, voting intrigues me a lot. But again, like you said, it's where the dollar is going to be invested. And if it's going to be Amazon supply chain management, so be it. I'd like to see someone start somewhere and go somewhere with this, because it's got a lot of possibilities. So thank you so much, Adelle. If you want to say something in conclusion, please feel free, and then we can wrap it up.
No, thank you. That's great. I hope we can see the day where we can use, digital asset, non-securitized, of course, Bitcoin, all roads lead to Bitcoin, but blockchain technology to be able to purchase, milk, eggs, basic necessities. And I do hope the situation in India and other parts of the world are really remedied very soon. And this has the potential to help accomplish that. So thank you for having me on again. And I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation.
Thank you so much, Adelle. And you've seen a totally different facet of Adelle. Adelle is a lot of things put together, and we're hoping that we'll be having her back on our channel on not just blockchain, but also on other topics such as the politics that is happening so fast now. Are they or are they not? Russia versus Ukraine, are they going to cease fire or not? All that, and all the trials and tribulations of Donald Trump. Everything. So we will be doing that very shortly. Thanks once again, Adelle, for taking time out to talk to us. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Namaskar.